Welcome, everyone. If you're here, we're glad to see you here. This is the continued conversation. You're probably coming from the Movie Manifest meeting, but I mean, we love movies too much. We just got to talk a little more, and we're going to go a little deeper, and there will be spoilers. Just a quick spoiler warning. Jackson?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Pig. We already talked about our first reactions to the film, but Pig is a 2021 film, came out in July, starring Nicolas Cage, directed by Michael Sarnowski and written by Vanessa Block and Michael Sarnowski. Quick little synopsis: it's about a truffle hunter who lives alone in the Oregonian wilderness, must return to his past in Portland in search of his beloved foraging pig after she is kidnapped. You can stream it on Hulu. If you haven't watched it, go stream it on Hulu right now. All right, so we already in our first reaction video in the meeting, we had told our ratings to each other, and we rate on a subjective scale.
That's right.
I gave this movie an 8.6. Sean, you gave it an 8.3.
That's correct.
And I guess you gave an 8.6, and you guessed I gave an 8.3. So we're both 0 for 1.
We are 0 for 1
in our guesses. But we were in the neighborhood. We're in the neighborhood, so I feel like that's
0.3 off. It's not horrible.
No, not at all. Okay, so yeah, we talked in the meeting. This wasn't the movie we were expecting. We expected John Wick action movie, maybe Nick Cage wreck some dudes. Like, if he didn't get the information he wanted, he was just gonna snap their neck and just move on, and try to find his pig. Because he said repeatedly in the first 40 minutes, I want to find my pig, or I'm looking for my pig.
Yeah, he was no nonsense about it.
He's really determined.
Yeah, no nonsense.
For his pig. I don't believe was the pig's name ever mentioned?
That's a good shout. I mean, he definitely. We know it is a female. That is, we know it's a female pig.
Yes.
But I don't believe we know a name. Yeah, I don't believe that it's ever named. It's very cute though. That's something I wouldn't say in the first video. But man, that pig was cute, wasn't it?
It was surprising. It's just like a domesticated pig that hunts for truffles and that stays in his house and sleeps on his bed. And it's
quick question though. This is just the initial question. What were your initial reaction when you go in this movie? Like we said, we're expecting John Wick, and then you end up feeling like you just left Ratatouille.
Well, I'd say that obviously it surprised me, but there's been a couple of films that I've seen since I've embarked on this journey of watching films that have taken this turn. And one that it's a little bit more violent, but 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Okay, yeah.
Not really, just the kind of unexpected ending there. And then a movie I've watched recently that came out called Riders of Justice. Also a film that I was not expecting to go that way. So there's been a couple of films that have surprised me. I thought it was going to be like just a rampage, going to kill everyone and get revenge, that turned into, like you said, leaving Ratatouille. You just feel all warm. I mean, it's not.
But the ending is not very. It's not very happy. But yeah, it's just this wholesome feeling you have. I guess if I had to describe it.
I was like, it's not happy, but it's positive.
It is positive. Yeah, it is positive. Yeah. It's you're not looking. It's not ending in a way of like, oh, all hope is lost, or it does have like an upturned ending. But if I had to compare it to anything, this is an interesting take probably, but it reminded me of almost like a Joker or Taxi Driver, but at the same time, it's like the reverse. So like you're with a character and you're almost, in those first two, you're watching a downward spiral. But in this one, you're watching a character that I'm expecting to be one way the whole way. And it's like, as you learn more and more layers, you grow closer to him and you realize, hey, I actually like this guy. I actually don't dislike him. And you just didn't know that in the beginning. And it's almost like the reverse effect of those two films.
I think I liked just about every character.
Every character in the movie by the end? Yeah, every character.
Yeah. I mean, even Amir's dad.
True.
Like, even though what he did was wrong, and we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But I still was like, I like a man that admits his mistakes and when he's wrong and owns up to them. So, that made me like him.
That
me
comes with
respect them.
honest characters, and then that comes with honest characters, that's great writing in a character,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's what this
incredible
movie
writing.
nailed. Every character is fleshed out, and you have a small cast, which that's always
Yeah.
gonna be a plus, and so you're able to really flesh out the characters, and, I mean, Jackson knows, but you'll learn it. That's an easy big plus for me. Fleshed out characters that you can get
Oh
behind
yeah.
is a huge plus.
I
So,
know if this movie was like a John Wick rampage, Nick Cage running all over, and I was very surprised they took this movie to Portland. I just expected, even
yeah,
like I said when I read the synopsis, who lives along the Oregonian wilderness. I was like, why wouldn't they film the whole movie in the Oregonian wilderness? I figured
The
he'd just go like
Revenant.
cabin to cabin and
I was
just like be
thinking
wrecking people.
The Revenant for sure. I was thinking
Oh
like
yeah,
very wilderness, very like there might be a bear or something. I was thinking like we're gonna be in the woods. It's gonna be old, almost thought like old English. Like it'd be like an
hmm
older time, but it got really modern really fast.
I
And
thought it was a period piece because
yeah,
when
yeah,
his pig goes missing, when his pig gets stolen from him, he goes to that diner, and he asks for a phone, and she goes, I don't even know what that thing is. I'm so young, but I was like, what
yeah.
is that? I don't know, there's a phone you can actually pick up and put to your ear, and it's like huge, and you
It
put it
almost had
back
that
on. It's
feel. Have you seen The
I just
Village,
thought it was
Jackson?
like I haven't watched The Village.
Okay, well then I can't make that comparison, but it's just
No, you
almost
can't.
like but okay, well then it's the point of it being this then that I do love, and this is what I don't know if you picked up on this, but the casting choice of putting Alex Wolff and Nicolas Cage together is amazing because you have an up and coming actor playing this
Yeah,
really modern role, and then you have a veteran playing kind of an older, washed role, and it really I felt like their real life situation really transferred over into their character, and that made their characters that much more believable. That old and young
definitely,
crossover.
definitely. And one thing, probably the most biggest thing I appreciate about this movie was that because you kind of think, even like, no one's really going to guess this is more than his pig going missing, like in the beginning. You think it's
Right.
just about him getting his pig back.
Yeah.
But as he continues to go to different places and searching for his pig, trying to find more information, each time he goes somewhere, you learn more and more about him. And it
Yeah.
just, I've seen my fair share of 90-minute movies, and one of the biggest problems is not having enough time to flesh out characters and just giving us little bits and pieces of their background. But this
Yeah.
did a very, very good job of showing who he was, what happened to him, and who he is today. And I
True
just
character
enjoyed
study.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
True character study. And I love how when he's going into places, people know his name. Like it's not even they did so much with so little. Like just the fact of, hey, well, this is oh, don't let me forget his name here. Hold on. This is George. What is it? George Felt? Is that Nicolas Cage's character's name in this? George?
That was
No,
Robin
Rob
Held.
Felt. Robin
Robin.
Felt.
Yeah, or Held or Feld. I thought it was.
This is the
It,
exclusive mistakes are
I have
allowed video here.
Robin. Is it? Feld? I think it might have been Feld. Robin Feld. I
Failed.
know it's Robin.
Rob, wait, he's able to throw that name around and people respond. And it's like, but when you don't know about him, you're thinking, oh, this dude used to be some like tough drug dealer, tough like bad guy, whatever. But then you further along in the film, it's like, no, this dude was a freaking chef. And I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa. Like I would never have saw that like coming at all. Floored me.
yeah. So if we're gonna get into spoilers, might as well. So basically, the film
Yeah.
starts out. Nick Cage, he's living along the wilderness. He takes his pig out. His pig hunts for truffles. I really didn't know what a truffle was,
I
and like how
still
sacred they
probably
were.
don't know what a
Yeah, I still
truffle
don't
is.
really know what a truffle is. I
I
know it's
know it's
some
good
type of
food.
food, and
Yeah.
I know it's sacred, and I know that it's very hard to find them, and they're probably very expensive. So basically, what Robin is doing is he goes out with his pig, and his pig searches for these truffles. They find a truffle, many of them, and then he has a business associate who drives out in his very, very modern yellow Camaro,
Oh yeah.
and you get like the first time Alex Wolff is on screen, is like, oh, this guy is a cocky son of a gun,
Yeah.
But yeah, he sells him the truffles, and then they kind of work together. But then, and you think, there's some very beautiful shots of the scenery, the pig wagging its tail and just kind of some funny stuff. And then, it happens, the tweakers, I believe that's what subtitles told me they were.
Two tweakers come in.
Take his pig, beat him up pretty good. That was a really good fight scene. I thought, I was like,
very real fight scene, I'd say. Yeah, it's not very Hollywoodized fight scene. And also it kind of showed Rob / Nicolas Cage restraint. Like, I mean, like he just kind of, it also kind of started leading into like this idea of he's not super, like, I guess, trained in combat. That's not his main skill. Because I was kind of wondering, I was like, at first I was like, why is dude just getting beat up? I was expecting like Neo from the Matrix to just wreck these guys. But then he doesn't. But then it's understood why he doesn't, because it's not really his thing. So yeah, but they come and take it, and the search begins. And he has to go leave the woods, and that's the end of the woods. Basically, for a majority of the movie, like when he leaves the woods, he really doesn't come back until the end.
Yeah. Alex, or Amir is the character's name. Alex was played by as Amir. Amir takes him to another place, and they get more information that they think these two other hillbillies, or whatever you want to call them, were out in the woods that stole the pig. They go to them. They tell them that no, or they helped steal the pig, but someone else stole the pig, and it was in Portland. So now they have to go into Portland, and that I wasn't expecting that. I didn't expect the city vibes, but I'd say that's when I started like, okay, this is not the way I was thinking this film was going to go.
Right.
But then I was still enjoying it, just because right when they got into Portland, we're on their way there. He's playing that. Amir's playing that audio tape about classical music. They're taking turns shutting it off and stuff. And,
pretty funny. Yeah, but actually, like you said, the levity comes in. It's actually, I'm laughing. I'm like, I don't know why, but it's pretty funny. Yeah. Nick is stone faced too, Rob. Like he's stone faced the whole time, and then the other dude's just cocky, and they're Clash. I love the choice of classical music, because it's like it's still that kind of old and new. Like he's got this bright yellow Camaro busting in the forest, but he's blaring classical music, and it's just that meta. It's very meta. Like it's very aware of itself, and I think that's very well done from the writer there, putting that together like that.
And then once, I'd say one of the first scenes where I noticed like this is actually like a very good movie, like behind the scenes. Like the directors, when they get into Portland, it's night, and there's just this sequence of like the lights flashing and like showing us some of the downtown. I was like, this is very well done. And then what's next? Is that when they go to the underground club?
Yeah, they go into the underground, like kind of fight club scene, and Rob appears to know that what he's like, but your name means something down here. And what I took, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this scene, honestly, which is where I think most watchers could help. I guess people, they wagered how much they put forth the amount of money to get to beat on this guy for a set period of time. And whoever paid the most was then given the chance to deliver punches for a set time.
Yeah,
that's what I took. But
yeah, I don't think it's a very important detail. I think the only thing that we really need to take from that scene is that this guy was very well known, because I mean he wrote his name up there, and the guys they listened.
Off the board too, like off the board. That was so cool. That was so cool how he did that.
Also showed his restraint, because he got beat up for a whole minute.
Yeah.
Took a whole lot of punches. Probably someone probably could have died from that. But
do you think
maybe in real life, maybe someone dies if you get punched in the face for a minute?
Do you think there's a why? Like why were people paying so much whenever he stepped up and put it on top? Like, it makes me wonder, like, what motivation was behind the people really, okay, he's here, let's put our money down. Like, you ever think about the why there?
Probably he had a history. Like, it seemed like it was a club he'd been to before.
Yeah.
But
and it did mention,
like I said, the only thing we need to take from this scene is that he got some more information on his pig.
Yeah, And then also, yeah, just the connection, and then the fact of like you learn throughout the whole movie how many connections he has to different people, and they're not all great connections. So like like in being well
Yeah.
known, you're gonna make good connections, you're gonna make bad connections,
Mhm.
and so that led into his character developing even further. But yeah, so he gets freaking wrecked basically, um,
Yeah.
really tough, and then but then in doing so, that's how he acquires the next step in his from the guy who's running it. I guess that gives him a certain level of kind of respect, I guess, where it's okay, you're gonna take that. I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell you what you need to know, send you on your way.
And then the next scene, I believe they skip to, it's like the morning after, and he stayed in Amir's apartment, and they're just eating dinner there, and Robin, he's had he's had
He's
a hell
beat
of a
up.
night, he's
Yeah.
hurting. He's not
He's
really saying anything, but and then that's when Amir. That's when this is right when I start liking Amir. He goes off and starts talking about his mother and this beautiful little story of how his parents were not happy at all until they went into this restaurant one night, and they came back gleaming and they were very happy, and his mom mentioned it was like the best food she's ever ate, and he was like, it's the only time my parents were happy.
yeah.
And then I was like, right when that happened, I was like, okay, this is gonna be a lot more. Then that's when I right then is when I like checked off the John Wick rampage. I was like, okay, this
Yeah.
is trying to go for some stuff, trying to go deep here and try to get you to feel some stuff. And that's when I started really paying attention to like just what the story is like wanting me to get out of it. And yeah, that's where it really kicked off for me right there.
I think that's when it got my attention also because following that story, that's when Nick Cage goes into a monologue that like I want to hear again because I'm sure that I didn't fully understand the first time I listened to it. But from what I first gathered from it, it made me think of like kind of how temporary someone's name can be, like how temporary fame can be, and like remembering what you do it for. He has a couple of moments where he like shows people like you need to remember why you're doing this for you and
Yeah.
like what's making you happy, and because people's ideas of you are going to be temporary, they're going to change.
Mhm.
And so kind of like you're saying, that's when I kind of leaned closer a little bit per se. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to have to really turn my brain on for a second and figure out what's going on.
So what's next? I feel like that's when he asked for the reservations at
And
that.
he goes to the guy's got the meat there, and he's really having to dig at this guy. He's like, "So I heard you got an in with the guy that owns Friendlies or Finley's or one of those. Like it's a really big in restaurant,
Fenways. Yeah.
Finways."
Yeah.
And he really has to work for it. Like he doesn't just come up, and the guy doesn't give it.
Hmm.
Kind of shows that like he's new into the game. He's trying to get his foot in the door, and he ends up having to offer a crazy discount to get it in. And then it wasn't until he uses the name that the guy says,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay," then lets him in. So just kind of once again that name
It's
coming through.
because in that scene before, I think he's looking in the mirror and he's like practicing
He's trying to hype
a
himself up.
conversation he's gonna have. Yeah. And I was
Great
like,
scene from Wolf.
yeah,
Great
it
scene.
showed he's a little short on confidence, and that he definitely doesn't feel the way he acts.
Right.
He tries to act very cocky, but he's actually a little um, got low self esteem, self confidence.
And I'm not sure if it's been said in up to this point, but you do learn that a lot of his motivation comes from trying to impress his father. And I think
Yeah,
that's a critical piece as to like when you see the confidence not being there, you also then start to understand, okay, this overconfident guy at the beginning that you said like even I want him off of here, you now understand where that over exaggerated sense of confidence has come from. That
yeah.
lack of having support and stuff. And it just kind of explains it so well to where it's like we said before, that character, now I understand it, I get it and I can get behind
The thing I kept thinking about, like in the next few scenes, is like, why didn't Robin shower? Why didn't they
it.
try to treat him or something? Like he's still, I'm sure he smells terribly.
The
He
whole
looks
movie.
all beat up, same clothes on. I was like, especially when they're gonna try and go get reservations at a very nice restaurant. I was like, at least look nice, but
I
he
think
kept it.
I think it's to this point of when the vibe I got from Robin in the movie is that like And it's that contrast between him and Amir. Amir cares so much about the exterior, the
Hmm.
appearance, how he looks,
Yes.
and Robin's been here, done that, and he is kind of like what I was saying before, like with the appearances. He's like, I'm past that. I don't care what people think when they see me. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what I smell like.
Hmm.
I'm here to look for this pig. I'm here to try to find. And I'll do whatever it takes. And whereas normally that'd be like an intimidating quality, it's very
Right.
endearing because you understand, like you realize how serious he's taking it, and you're with him. You're not like scared of him or anything. You're like, man,
Hmm.
it really gets you invested in the chase.
Yeah. So they get the reservation for Fenway's, and they're sitting there. The waitress or whoever she is, she's reading this monologue of what like the food is there, and really spicing up the
Really weird
tones.
food, dude. Really weird
Yeah.
food.
And then Robin goes in and with his hands, and and eats it right up, and
No,
she's like, you can tell she's disgusted. Like that is not how we act here.
and no reaction either. He's probably like, yeah, that's all right. That is an all right dish. Like he's like, I'm not sad.
I've
I'm
made
not really
better.
impressed by that. Yeah. And he crushes that one like afterwards. Oh man, I love it. And
And
then
then
that's when we're introduced to the waiter there, or they have to call for him.
the chef,
They
he's
the chef, yeah. Then they have to tell him that Robin's here, and that's what gets him to come in. And
yeah.
you get this
Was
really
this
cool
your
scene.
favorite scene of the movie?
I Okay, so the thing is, oh, well, you know what I'm wondering? Did we miss a scene? So the scene with the little boy, does this happen after this meeting, or did we miss the scene with the little boy?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to overlook that scene. That
I
was a
I
weird
can't.
scene.
I can't overlook it because
It was a
I
weird
really love that scene.
scene.
I really loved it.
What?
I don't know. It really humanized Nick Cage. It was like it kind of transitioned him into like, at first I was creeped out because like, okay, this hobo looking guy's walking up to a kid, but it's like something about it was like the way he approached it, and like I don't know, it made me kind of feel more like I was like more into
I'm
the
trying,
character a little more after that. When he asked him, he's like, "Does your face hurt?" The kid was
yeah.
adorable, and
I'm trying to think.
yeah,
Was that? I think that might have been after this. Because
he
isn't right after he takes that bicycle,
he takes
or
the
is it after?
bicycle.
Screams at that kid.
Yeah, and
It's
then
the
leaves.
funniest part of the movie.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe so, maybe so. But okay, but back to
Yeah,
the restaurant scene because we're there.
yeah.
The chef comes out, and yeah, I will say easily one of my favorite scenes. Um, and it's down to Nicolas Cage's delivery, and also I don't know who that guy playing the chef was, but he really had to reach and really had to show
Yeah.
some emotion of someone who's like self-reflecting and things like that. So if you
His
want to break
character
down what
name
happens
on
there,
his character name on IMDb just says Chef Fenway.
Jeff Fenway.
So
Yeah,
yeah. So basically, it starts off as just like a little, honestly, a very odd, uncomfortable conversation
yeah,
until Robin turns and like looks up and they actually make eye contact, and you can tell right from Chef Fenway he's like, oh, this is Robin Fell. This was my. We learned it was his former boss, and that he used to work for the chef as a prep cook, and he got fired by
overcooking the pasta. Yeah, and one of
yeah,
my favorite
overcooking the
lines,
pasta.
because he just hands him this dish that like I don't even know how I would begin to eat it. It's very very aesthetic, but probably tastes horrible. And he
Yeah,
like we said, takes the bite, crushes it, and then he's looking at him and he's like, oh, I remember you that I fired you because you overcooked the pasta. And like just anything he thought he had, any
yeah.
credibility is just, you can just see it leave his face after he says that to him. He's like, oh, okay, well,
And
geez.
then he can tell he's like, what is this guy coming here for? Like, why is this guy here? Why is he dressed like this?
Yeah,
Why is he belittling me? And then that's when we start to get deep. Like this whole scene is just so incredibly written, just the way like it starts to the way it ends. It's just phenomenal. But he starts asking him because I guess when Robin fired him, he asked him what's his dream job, and he wanted to open up a pub, like
that's
an
right.
English pub. And well, now he is at this. He's not. He hasn't opened a pub. He's at this very um, fancy restaurant serving strange food, you
Yeah.
know. And he asks him why not, you know, and he really doesn't have an answer. You know, he's
He's
kind of
like, it won't work. He's like, people won't go for a pub. And
yeah,
every sentence is almost like, I can't do this because of how the people are gonna respond. And then Robin hits him with that quote. He's like it doesn't matter. Like it's
yeah,
he basically tells him you sold out. And
yeah,
he says in a very much more eloquent way. But when he says that to him, it's just watching his like facial expression just kind of as he's kind of realizing like, well, I mean,
he
I like the food here. It's a success. I'm successful. The more he says it, you can just tell he
yeah.
doesn't believe it. It's
Yeah, you know, he
great, well
starts
written.
like smiling and then he's like frozen for a few seconds. And
Yeah,
then he's like, heck. And then, you know, we kind of circle back around to Robin, I'm looking for my pig. And
yeah,
you know, like Robin knows this guy knows where it's at, you know,
right.
because I mean, the pig's very popular because it finds truffles. But yeah, and then I think what led the chef to give away that it was actually Amir's father that took the pig
Yeah, we learned
was
that there. Yeah,
that just the guilt of he just felt bad for himself, and you know, he just got this life lesson from from Robin, and that kind of just leads him to be like, okay, yeah, it was Amir's dad, Darius was his name.
Darius. Yeah, and
So
he
that's
describes him as someone that you don't want to make angry.
yeah,
So it really bigs this
yeah,
guy up as the
yeah.
villain.
They didn't mention his name, which is again pretty incredible writing. Someone you
Yeah,
don't want to make angry, and we all kind of knew who it was. Like, there's always going to be this crime boss or
yeah. There's
someone
someone
else. Like,
higher.
we
Always
knew that
someone higher. Yeah,
there's going to be a someone that has been mentioned before. But again, with this conversation, with it being Amir's dad, that's when we kind of see some conflict between Robin and Amir, because you know, Robin feels like Amir is somehow involved in this and like maybe set up the plan, you know, or gave some information to his dad.
well,
But
yeah, because
then
he tries to ask him, like he tries to ask him for more information, and Amir won't give it to him. And
yeah,
because I mean, obviously he doesn't want to sell out his dad, and then but then he's
mhm,
trying to tell him, well, I didn't know, and because in before he's mentioned his dad, I think Nick Rob even says, like your dad sounds terrible. So like obviously Rob has no reason to like him,
yeah,
after knowing what he knows about him. But when Amir won't, he's battling about giving him up. That obviously leads conflict because Rob's got one goal: he's got to get the pig
yeah.
back.
I believe Amir does tell him his address right then, doesn't he?
He
Tells
might
him
give
where
him
he's
the
at.
address, yeah,
Yeah, and then I think this is when he steals the bike, because now he's upset with Amir. He doesn't want to ride with him anymore. So
yeah.
he goes and steals this bike from this kid, or just goes and finds a bike, honestly. And then this kid comes up like, "Hey, it's mine." You never really see the kid, and then Nick Cage just screams at him, and that was like the
Overacting,
funniest part of the movie.
overacting done
I
right. When
love
Nick
that.
Cage, yeah, it worked out for this. But when it works, it works. But
Because he
that
knew his
was,
appearance and
yeah.
everything was just gonna scare the kid anyway.
Then he just screamed like a grizzly, like a caveman.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then they separate. So
This might be
Amir,
when he meets the kid. Actually, the kid scene
he's
might be there.
probably
Yeah,
yeah. I think that is when he's like, yeah, he comes to this resolution. Hey, I'm finding more about myself, like my old self, and
yeah,
he has these memories, all these memories that he's had, and that he's probably tried to lock away, you know. And then he goes to the house where he grew up, walks to the backyard, you know, and then finds this kid, and they just sit down and start talking, which I thought was a little out of left field. Like I said, it was a good conversation. It did show some more um, about Robin, and we learned that him and his wife used to be there, and he referred to her in the past tense, so you know she passed on by then. But then, yeah, it's does your face hurt? You know, that's what he says to him.
and they're playing that cool
Yeah,
instrument. I don't know. It's just, but it's also like a reminder that like, whereas like Rob is like he's on this mission, it's he's almost like just he's discovering more like kind of like you mentioned like, about himself too. He's like it's
yeah,
forcing him to relive things that he obviously in the beginning moved to the woods to avoid.
Mhm.
So like through this happening, he really had to confront some things that he really didn't want to in the first place.
Now, I don't know if the timetable's ever mentioned between the last time they've seen him in Portland, last time he was a chef. But
Right.
I did some research. They said it's like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
I guess it's there somewhere. So obviously he's been living in the wilderness with this pig. And that's when you kind of learn that, hey, there's a reason he's looking for this pig, because, it's like the only thing he has is this pig.
Yeah. And
So then,
he,
yeah, go ahead.
what is that? No, that's not. I'm jumping the gun too much. We got to get to where so then he goes after the kid. He approaches Darius's place
Yes.
on his own
Yeah.
without Amir. Well,
Yeah.
Amir ends up there, but he approaches Darius's place.
Yeah, that's later. At this point, yeah. Robin goes to Darius's house,
Yeah.
and then Amir, he goes to what we didn't know, because in a conversation at their place, he mentioned that his mother killed herself.
Killed herself. We thought it was suicide. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but in this scene, Amir goes to this hospital or something.
Probably
And,
nursing home or something like
yeah,
that.
nursing home, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's still alive, probably on ventilator or just in a coma or something. And he starts talking to her. But
Doesn't go in though. Stays outside
doesn't
the
go
door.
in.
Yeah.
Stays out. Not really for sure the reason behind that. Probably just, I'm sure that's just a terrible situation to be in, and just try and distance himself from her, like trying to.
It's hard to see
no
your.
telling how long she's been. Is that when Amir maybe tells her, he's like, I don't know why my father's let you live this long? Like,
He asked her. Well, he asked her if, like, do you wish that he would just go ahead and kill you? Almost like he almost like he's so cynical about it, and I think part of it is just kind of like the idea of Amir doesn't want to deal with that. Like that's a hard thing to deal with, and he would rather like focus on like wearing the nice clothes, making success in the business, things like that. But putting those skeletons deeper into the closet instead of actually addressing them. And that's why when she said, "Do you want to see her?" He's like, "No," because honestly, he probably hasn't even faced it. That's the situation. Like,
right. So then that was kind of all that scene, and then and we're back with Robin. He's at Darius's house. Darius tells him, yeah, I took the pig, but you need to stop. I mean, it's my pig now. And he offers him. He tries to pay him off.
Yeah,
big money. It starts small. Starts with like 15,000, jumps up to 20,000.
Eventually says 200 million at one point, or 20 million. Or I don't know which one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously Robin wasn't about that. He wasn't
priceless. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that like revealing about his character in that scene
with Darius?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is that when he tells him? He talks about like his place and everything. Like he tells him like this is all mine. Like you are mine. Amir in this sense is mine. Like it's all mine. It tells him that Amir doesn't really have a place in this business. He's more of a desk job type of guy, and basically belittles him really big there. And that's obviously going to make Robin even care less, respect him less. But really tough view of Darius when you first meet him.
Yeah. So then, so he doesn't take the offer. He leaves, and this is when maybe the viewer, maybe myself, thought about it just a little bit. Hey, now we're about to have some serious rampage. We're about to get some action. We're about to get some violence.
Right.
But no, it's complete opposite. He when he walks out of Darius's house, Amir has drove his vehicle, his flashy yellow Camaro, to meet him. And it's got a dent in it now because Amir was so upset with himself that he kicked the crap out of it.
Well, no, Rob kicks it though. Rob kicks it. He gets mad at him and he starts hulking against it. It's pretty wild. That's after he says, I'm gonna go get a new ride. You're not my ride anymore, basically. So you do see the dent, good continuity there. And he pulls up though, and he says, "Thought you might need your ride," because he refers back to when he said, "You're just my ride." And so their bond also definitely grows.
Yeah, it shows that like they have a little bond between each other, and the more that Amir has been with him on this this trip down memory lane, the more he's gained respect for Rob, and kind of like maybe sees the person he wants to be
Yeah,
instead of his father. He sees. I don't think at this point Darius is no longer his father figure. It's Robin.
in a
That's the
way. Yeah.
man. Yeah, that's what I kind of got from it. And then, but this is they're there, and Robin asks for a pen and a pad or something to write on, and Amir takes out like his iPhone 11 and hands it to him.
Yeah.
Like this
That
is
old
what we
and
got
young.
now.
Yeah.
And this is when he's saying, "Hey, go, this is when I'm thinking in my head, go to the store. I need, I don't know, rope. I need gasoline. I
I need
need,
like a chainsaw, like with a
yeah,
bunch of shotgun shells. We're about to home alone this guy. We're gonna
yeah,
go in and do some damage. But no, he's like, let's go pick up these ingredients. And then you start to see them go to different places. And I think so he goes to the Amir goes to the place to get the wine from the woman. Uh and then
yeah.
like there's this like really like fancy wine, I guess that and then also Rob goes to the bakery where I'm guessing it's a former employee, possibly.
Former employee,
You really don't know who it
friend,
is.
yeah. But they, there wasn't a whole lot said in that conversation, but you could tell that they have had a past,
A history of
and
some
that
kind. Yeah.
definitely brought some more memories back to Robin.
Yeah.
And then,
And yeah.
what are you thinking at this point? Like, I mean, we're over an hour in at right now. Like, so there's not much left. What are you thinking, like, in terms of how this is gonna conclude?
I mean, when he started grabbing the ingredients and we did learn that he had a cooking background, I I did kind of start to think, okay, we're looking at he's gonna make something. And I I guess what then I was thinking was, okay, so what's gonna be the significance of this meal? Like what's gonna happen after he makes this?
Yeah.
And
But then
at one
they did a
part,
perfect, yeah, they did a perfect job of foreshadowing what it could be when Amir tells the story of the only thing that's ever made his parents happy was this meal that a chef cooked. And he kind of hints. I don't, did he say directly it was Robin in
no,
that
you just
scene?
kind of yeah, you're
I
aware of it by the
right
end.
there. I remember myself pointing at Robin, and I was like, yes, he definitely made this dish.
Yep, yep. And a cool scene, a little small scene that I think was cool, would be easy to overlook is he's in the bakery and he asked for a second, I guess it was some kind of like strudel or something. Maybe he
Mm-hmm.
asked for a second one. And I was like, why do you ask for a second one? And he gets in the car and he gives him one. And I was like, man, little details like that. Like when I'm writing something, I would want to put that in there because like just the little
Yeah,
things that really build that. But so yeah, they get it all together and they start to they get to go to they get back to I guess they go to his place. They go to
yeah.
Darius's place and they start cooking this dish.
While he's not there, yeah, he's not
Yeah.
there. They and then talking about little things. Um, I didn't catch this, but thankfully I was reading just what Wikipedia said, and it said that in a scene where it's the night after he got beat up in that underground,
Yeah.
um, Amir tells him he's not that he can't cook, so he made him like
Like
some
the
just
French
normal
toast.
breakfast.
And then yeah,
Yeah, French toast. Yeah, and then
Rob tells him to use stale bread.
in the scene where they're making this dish for Darius and them, he's like kind of showing him the ways of
Teaching
like
him.
how to
Yeah.
cook. Yeah, teach him a little bit. It was another beautiful sequence, just like how the food was being prepared and how it was being made, and I really enjoyed that. And then they eat.
And then I love how like it's he goes it's Amir that goes to tell his dad, like almost another form of like asking for approval, like we
Mm-hmm.
made you dinner. And he's like no, get out of my house basically. And he like has to really work for it to get him to come down to eat this meal. Like it just
Yeah, and then let's see, they're eating, and obviously the dish is pretty magnificent because
he just busts out in tears after eating it.
yeah,
He drinks the wine and he starts to take the bites and he just can't take it. And I think this is where if I had issues, it's like I think it tried to be subtle and it gave you less is more. I wish I almost wanted more explanation into their like past relationship, but I guess you just have to know that like this meal made him remember his wife and it broke him down and that's it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I
Well,
kind of wanted more there. I think.
I think it's either that's an incredible interrogation tactic to get
Yeah.
him to to like fess up, or they're just really trying to. Nick Cage is like, I'm not about that eye for an eye. I'm just, you did something against me. I'm just going to be the better man here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was more of a this could get him to open up, also bring him some memories, and maybe like I said, like go back to, I guess I kind of got the feeling that they were close at one time, Darius and Robin.
Yeah.
Maybe had some type of
Maybe a
friendship.
rivalry even, or it could be a relationship, could be a rivalry,
Right.
could be whatever else. But there's a scene that we did overlook that I think builds into this scene pretty well. That I think so. Whenever I believe this is after Darius tells him no the first time. Rob tells Amir, "I don't need the pig to find the truffles."
Yes, this
Yeah,
is where one of my problems came in.
yeah,
I believe I have it in my notes here. I put the quote on. I don't think there's many quotes on IMDb because it's not a.
right. Not a big deal there, but
But he basically says, "I don't need to find the pig for the
yeah,
truffles. The trees find the truffles for me. Like,
he
I
uses
don't
the
need the
trees.
pig."
Yeah,
And he's like, "I love the pig."
I love her. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "What?"
No, but it's
Because
more.
the only thing
Yeah,
I said this because parental guidance advised before this next part. And like
yeah,
the first 15 minutes before they go, or somewhere in the first 20 minutes when they just start searching for the pig, someone asks him if he is it commits bestiality with the pig.
yeah. Someone says that
He's
to him
like,
in like a
"No, of course
derogatory
not."
way. He's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't do that. I don't make love to my pig." Yeah,
But then
uh,
this comes back up. I got some weird vibes when he says, "I love the pig." I was like, I could see, like if the pig's been around that long, it's like your only friend.
it's
He's
probably, yeah, it's probably something similar to John Wick in the set of like, no, I know that his wife didn't give him the pig, but I think it's like comes a point after you've loved someone for so long and you lose them, you have to
yeah.
almost learn to love again. And the vessel that was near him that could receive it was this pig, and it's
Hmm.
not a pretty thing. I think it's pretty cute, but like not a normally attractive thing. It's very ugly usually, and he loved it. And then I think that's
Yeah.
also through time he was able to kind of learn that feeling again. And when it was taken, that was taken. And then on top of that, as he's searching for it, he's then reminded of his past love. So in totality, the whole journey is just really hard on Rob the whole way.
Yeah.
And
You
what was I
mentioned
gonna
this
say
with the
though with
pig,
the
the cuteness of the pig, but
oh
like
yeah,
I just when I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox the other day, I just like I was like I think I said in my review, I love when they take like wild animals, disgusting animals, and turn them into something cute, like the foxes, Ratatouille, him just being so cute, and then like it was not animal, but Monsters Inc. It was like them scaring people was like their job. It was
right.
like I just love when that happens. And especially with this pig. Typical pigs, roll around the mud. Sometimes they eat people. It's like they eat human remains.
Oh yeah, well, in a couple
So
movies they
like,
do it, and in
or
Rambo they do it, and like, uh, yeah, it's like a
and in
means
real
of
life,
yeah, and but this one though, you get cute shots of like one of my favorite shots. He's when he's making the truffle the first time, and the flower's falling, and the pig's like shaking his head in the flower. It's like really adorable stuff, dude. It's really and that's just good camera work. But yeah, it's really good there. And so, but I think what ties back to it though is that I think what reason why I said that he didn't need the pig, he loved her, is that I think what Rob tried to do was remind Darius of something that he loved, so that in a
hmm
way he could understand, okay, I'm looking for this pig because of the same reason that you're crying right now. Like
yeah,
I have that same love and I'm not able to get it. And so I'm reminding you of this so that you can understand. I'm meeting you here instead of trying to take it by force or anything like that. And it's just a cool, really wholesome message ultimately.
All right, let's go back though. We're here. They're eating dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
He starts crying. He gets up from the table. Robin follows him, and this is basically when he starts confessing, like, "Yeah, of course it was me that took the pig, but." And go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
the pig's
The
dead.
pig is dead. Yeah. And that is
The
epic
pig was.
spoiler. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But we've already been spoiling a lot. But yeah, the
Oh
pig
yeah.
is
I mean,
dead and
we've
has been dead. They do reveal that he says that the
yeah
initial tweakers were too rough and she
yeah
died. So
they
she's probably been dead for a long portion of the movie.
yes. Um, yeah, it's hard to. I mean, obviously we're past spoilers, but we've been digesting it, we're dissecting this scene
Yeah.
by scene to the best of our memory, which is hard because even when this small film, there's still a lot of scenes to
There's a
go
lot of
over that
layers
were
to this.
important.
Yeah. For an hour 27, I'm sure
Yeah,
we even missed some scenes and missed some spots. But yeah, a lot to this for a really short runtime.
yeah. So yeah, Robin's told that the pig is passed, and this is the scene kind of ends. He kind of like yells and then like falls
It's
to his
quiet though.
knees.
I love how it's like it might be good editing where it's like you don't hear him. It's like you can
Yeah.
just see him. You see him screaming, and it's very visual. And then I think that also stops from the Nicolas Cage overacting effect
Mhm.
happening, where it's
Yeah.
like you just get to see the struggle. And I'll be honest though, this is why it's not quite super heights for me. It's like we get that big reveal, and normally in movies like that, like previous movies where there's not spoil any big movies, but when there's a big tragic reveal, like I'll get a tear, I get emotional, I'll get it right here, I'll
Mhm.
get emotional. And in this one, it it wasn't. It was like it really
Yeah.
wasn't that level. I was invested, but not as much as I maybe could have been.
Yeah. No, I get you there. It's maybe it could have used for maybe 10, 20 minutes longer. I feel like there's no reason this film should have been 87 minutes. I understand it's a slow burn, but I feel
Yeah,
like
covers a lot of
there's enough
ground.
material, enough of a story here to maybe take this a little bit further and
Right.
maybe make it a little bit more emotional. But maybe that's what the writers wanted. Maybe they wanted something that would touch you, that you would like kind of linger with you, but nothing that would make you like Marley and me sad.
And it makes you think. It does leave you thinking. It leaves, like I said, it makes me want to come back and watch it. And I think that if their biggest complaint, like I think the reason it's a low 8 for me right now is because I just wanted more. If your biggest complaint is wanting more, then I
Mm-hmm.
mean, how bad could a movie be ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, personally, yeah, me too. Like, I remember there's been a fair share of movies that were just too short.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
I
no,
enjoyed
yeah.
it so much, but then it ended. But yeah, so let's check on this. So yeah, the scene ends right there. Another thing I was wanting to mention, that the director Sarnowski, he maybe this is like something I appreciate. I don't know how good it actually is, but I love the like out of focus, into focus shots, or the in focus to out of focus shots. So like you couldn't like you maybe you focus on Nick Cage and then it kind of gets blurry and then we go to another scene. I like that. I
Yeah.
personally I like that touch. I don't know if it's like if everyone loves that. It could be a nitpick, just like
Could be
some other people.
overdone
But
at
I
times.
liked
Some
it.
films
Yeah.
overdo it, but I felt like
I,
this one
I
it
only noticed
used it in the right
a couple
way.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only noticed it a couple times. So just to finish off the rest of the movie, they just get back in the car and takes them home, right?
Yeah, he
That's
goes
like the last
back to the woods.
back to the yeah. He drops them off at the diner, and what else is there?
Is there I wanna say I think what I may have been missing, unless I just don't remember it, was there a last moment between I feel like after he learns the news, him and Robin and Amir don't really have another moment, like another like, "Hey," like, kinda like we've been talking about, like, their bond and stuff. There's
hmm
not really a conclusion to it, I feel like. It's just like he kinda drops him off, and he might say something to him, something small.
I just feel like they're just gonna continue on. It's like he said. I feel like they're gonna continue to be friends.
And
Because I
he'll
mean, I
still
feel like
find the truffles with the
Robin
trees.
Robin needs that. He needs the wilderness. And but yeah, the last time we see Amir, he drops him off. He's in his car. He plays the audio tape of the classical music, and then he starts crying.
Yeah,
Why do you think
he
he
does.
starts crying?
That's something where I don't know if it might be a lot of interpretations there. I think um it's probably when I think of him crying, I think it's just like maybe the collection of things that happened to him today just kind of
Hmm.
hit him all at the end. Like he kind of, and then him hearing the music kind of made him think. And then also, I like the clip. It talks about how classical music is like the most superior type of
Hmm.
music, and I just feel like in a way, it's like when he listens to that, like hypes himself up, like, okay, I'm listening to the top of the line. I am the top of the
Yeah.
line. By the end of the day, he's realizing like I'm
The
not.
top of the line is not the top of the line. It's like it's
And if I
very
am, what I thought was the top of the line isn't. Like he a lot of situations where like his whole perspective of what it means to be successful and everything just kind of got
yeah
turned upside down. And so I think a lot
because
of emotional toll.
the whole time, like probably his whole life, he's trying to impress his dad. He's not the salesman. His dad. He's not the worker his dad is. And then he realized what his dad has done, and then he's like, I don't want to be him. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's just a realization. And it's just, like I said, it was a pretty eventful few days with Robin, and just honestly, I think a little bit of it is him just feeling bad for Robin, just because he kind of like told his dad about the pig that
Right.
hunts for truffles, and just feeling bad. Okay, so yeah, that's all we see with Amir. That was the last time we see of Alex Wolff. Very, very well. He did really well. I
Oh yeah.
was surprised because I wanted the first 10 minutes or so. I believe he like starts yelling at Robin, like, don't you respect me or something like that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
get this guy off the screen.
Yeah.
But then yeah, so that's the last we see of Amir. And then we follow Robin back to his cabin where he's at, and still beaten up, still got the bloody face, still in those raggedy old clothes. And then he plays a tape of his
The wife, the
past
old
wife,
wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
his past wife. Not for sure the song. I didn't hear enough of it. We might can Google that, what song that was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what song it is,
But
but yeah, it's a song that he really appreciated or reminded her of him. She said
I
this
know
song
it's a very popular song. So if there's any, and it sounded older. So if it's like there's any classic rock fans that are very upset with this right now, we apologize.
I'm on fire.
Yeah, is that Springsteen or something?
Yeah, I believe that's. Let me see. I'm on fire. Who does sing that? I'm not a classic rock fan. I'll go ahead and get that. I don't dislike it by any means.
Yeah,
But
Bruce
I know.
Springsteen, I'm on fire. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it wasn't.
yeah.
It wasn't him singing.
It was slower. It was her
Yeah, I think
singing,
it was.
right?
Yeah, it was her singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then no telling how. Maybe that's the he did take that out of the chest, right? He took the little VH.
And it's worth noting when he started the movie, he started the tape, but he would stop. He stopped it. So
Yeah,
it makes me wonder do you think he ever heard her sing that before? Has he listened past that point?
I think so, but I just don't
so?
think he. I feel like this is another. And what I called it, I kind of got this from Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, because in that whole movie, Frances McDormand is trying to find her daughter's killer,
Yeah.
And at the end, spoilers, but
if you haven't seen Three Billboards yet, it's all spoilers in this.
Yeah, but they don't find her.
Yeah,
or to find the killer, but she is still kind of has found peace. So like the main theme from that one is peace without justice. So she can be happy without that closure. So I feel like this is what that kind of is. He's like, even though he lost his pig, and which the pig might be a little bit of like you might like think of the pig as his wife, like as a companion, as like, even though my wife is alive, I still have this pig. This is all I have. And then after the pig has passed out, I feel like that's when he's finally coped with his wife's death.
Yeah, grieving. Yeah, like the grieving process.
Yeah, some kind of solace he's found there. He's able to play that video. Obviously, it puts him to tears. And he
Yeah.
sits down on the bed, and then voila.
I like to think of it, and I mean, it's probably not realistic, but I like to think of it as he wasn't able to play more of the tape, or maybe like he may have heard it before, but like he wasn't able to play it. And then through this experience, he's forced to revisit some things.
Mm-hmm.
He's forced to experience things. And then he's like, okay, now I'm good. Like, in a way, it's like by losing this pig, I'm able to, like you said, kind of step forward into like, I lost this pig. So, I mean, I lost her before. So I'm going to
Yeah.
work on accepting that.
So, all in all, I think this was a pretty good first movie review. I feel like this had a lot to offer for such a kind of a small scope film. I feel like this was
Of course.
definitely it impressed me. You know, I mean, it's not the best movie I've seen this year. I think it's an 8.6 for me, and I think that's it's in my top 15 of this year. That's good.
Let's see. You have the tab up on my top for the year. Let me check.
Yeah, you gave an 8.3, so you have
I haven't put it in yet. It's right there with Eternals and
Vivo. I don't even know
it's just inside the top 10. Oh yeah, Vivo, that movie. Yeah, that movie, dude. Talk about one that puts you in the feels. But I love animation, so I would not expect you to go super high on Vivo, but it was definitely well done. It's another Netflix movie. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, 2021 is still pretty up there for me. After like last year, 2020, with COVID delays and everything, there wasn't a whole lot of really good content out there. There's still
2019. I mean, was incredible. So
2019, yeah.
Like so to follow 2019.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed watching this one. I've been wanting to watch it. I'm glad it came to Hulu. I'm glad I liked it.
And
I was gonna say, if you came over this from the Movie Manifest meeting, there's 5 of us in the movie squad. There's 2 members right here, but out of the 3 that are not present, who do you think will like this the most? Who do you think will like this the least?
Okay, this is a good one. I like this.
Little final question before we close.
We'll close it out. Okay, so I'll go for my most. You go for your most. Or you want to go most and least, and then most and least, and then explain, or most and most, least and least.
Let's do the most and most, and then least and least. So
okay, I'll go most.
Who do you think will like this the most?
I think that it's going to be tough to explain this because I know they don't have a lot of context into our squad, but I think Spencer's going to like this the most. Because of how complex it is. The performances are really good. It's well shot. It's very Oscar it's not like, I don't know how much it'll win, but it's geared toward the Oscar winning picture type of framework.
I don't think so. I don't think it's even gonna get nominated for anything.
And that's the thing. It probably won't.
Under the radar. Yeah.
Yeah, but it could though. Like the aesthetics and stuff, the performances, the camera work, it's all on all cylinders. Kind of hits in. But I do think, funny enough, his rating might be one of the lowest because with Spencer's ratings, it's a little but his review of it, I believe his enjoyment and respect for it will probably be the most.
So I'm just going to go for the highest rating. I think Luke will give this a pretty high rating.
Okay.
He's a sucker for the. I think we all are, but the levity. I feel like he's going to like the creativeness of like this movie. Definitely could have been something else. I mean, we've mentioned it a few times. It could have been the John Wick Rage.
Could have been
the Nick Cage we saw in Mandy. But yeah, I think he'll really appreciate the story and the message,
the characters,
and the runtime.
The runtime is easy for sure. Do you think so? My least, I guess. And I don't think anyone in our squad is going to dislike this movie because at its core, I think it's a movie that's hard to hate because the message is so wholesome. It is so good. But I think out of all of them, I could see Jake going the lowest on this one.
What reason?
I mean, I could see him appreciating it more than enjoying it. Maybe finding some parts slow. I don't think he'll be a huge fan of the fact that he could find the truffle without the pig. and maybe look for some explanation there, possibly like, oh, like, whoa, that's kind of like leaves a lot of questions there
Yeah,
to be answered. But yeah, it's kind
it's
of what
kind
I'm
of
thinking.
funny because, well, I mean, the title's kind of misleading.
Yeah,
It,
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean, but like it's so much more. Like you would think the pig would be in it more, but
Oh, it's
like
not.
after, I mean, for about 40 minutes, the most repeated line Nick Cage is saying is, I'm looking for my pig,"
Yeah.
But then after a while, he's like, "I don't need my pig." So I feel like that could help him there with his like just understanding of the film. And I think he would want maybe a better conclusion of what happened to the pig, but I think you could also see that what happened to the pig isn't like the big message here.
Focus. And more
You know,
just the fact that the
it's
pig is
him.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's him finding himself, going back to Portland, finding himself, and how that's going to affect his future life.
Do you think that anybody in the movie squad will rate it higher than you?
I would think Luke has a chance.
Could go higher. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, 8.6 isn't incredibly high. I mean, it's up there. I mean, but it's just in all my movies, and 8.6 is like, it's just top 200 of my films.
And if I watch it
So,
again, it would definitely go up. I will say it will never go under 8.3 for me. And I could almost guarantee you that when I watch it again, it will go up. I don't know
yeah.
where it caps off though, because it's one of those that it probably caps off for me. I don't know if it quite could touch nines, just because, like I mentioned before, the emotional pull wasn't
Mhm.
super extreme. But it's just so easy to appreciate and to see what they went for that I could easily see it landing at around an 8.8 or an 8.9
Yeah.
with projections. But
So,
anyways, yeah, that's
for current viewers,
yeah.
um, you got to tell them what film are we gonna review next? Do we know?
Current viewers next. I don't know if we know what film we're viewing next.
I
It'd
guess
be a
it's probably gonna
it'll
change
depend on
on
who
how many
comes
are
in.
present. Yeah.
Better yet, yeah, who are you guys gonna meet next? And if you want to figure that out, you got to stay tuned for the next Movie Manifest meeting. Potentially meet a new Movie Manifest member.
I'm telling you, they get better. There's
There's
not
too many
one.
M's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep it going. Yeah, because
Yeah. I mean, if we could stick to 2021 films, or we could bring up maybe iconic films and talk about them. We're probably going to stay away from like the giants
yeah, you're not
because
going to see a Shawshank Redemption, a Departed review here. But I do think, though, where I'm seeing this go, if we do go older films, we're going to go through our ratings. We're going to find films that have a spread in terms of
yeah,
enjoyment. People that maybe didn't love a film, a lot of people that did, and then we can get more conversation going. Because otherwise, you're going to listen to how great of a movie Shawshank Redemption is, or Pulp Fiction, or any of those,
yeah.
and it's just where it's going to end up. So we're going to
I
look
feel
for
like
some good conversation.
this was a good one because we both kind of appreciated the film a lot, and
Yeah.
our enjoyment was in the same neighborhood. I enjoyed it just a little bit more, but I think like this could have been a pretty terrible review or meeting if I gave it like a 9.8 and you gave it like a 7.
Like a 2. Yeah, which I could
Yeah,
ever give
something
something like
worse.
this a 2, because yeah,
Right.
there's some bad movies out there. But no, yeah, it was a really good one to start out with, and I hope that if anything, it makes more people more likely to watch it, because movies like
Mhm.
this deserve to be watched, because it took a lot
Yeah,
of work to put into this one. So
I agree. So this is must see. It's on Hulu. 87 minutes long, starring Nick Cage, Alex Wolff. I think it's a must see. I think if you want to watch current films or just a movie buff, I think this is one you need to see.
a risky,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'll
this
say
is.
I'll leave it with this list note. I say that the film, I have to give it credit because it's very risky, because
Mhm.
it would be easy to fall into that action blockbuster revenge genre and really do fine. But to go for something like this that's different, I really ambitious from the director, and I think that is probably the thing I most appreciate about it.
Absolutely.
And so my name
All
is
right,
John Chun,
Jackson Edwards.
and this
This
has
is the
been the
end.
continued conversation.
Yes, sir. See you next time.
Until the next one.